Greetings, good people! So you've heard the buzz, Western countries are collapsing and everyone's talking about escaping to a rising BRICS country or a tax-friendly place in the sun. Sounds tempting, right? But hold on, before you pack your bags and uproot your entire life, you need to know something crucial about these countries. Because making that leap without understanding the difference between the East and the West could end up being the costliest mistake of your life. Now, this channel is all about ghosting your wealth and using offshore tax havens to keep more of what you make. And after years of exploring and doing business in these countries, I've learned a game-changing truth. One place is great for hiding money and the other to making it. And if you don't know the difference between the two or why, you risk not just losing your entire life savings, but getting stuck in a culture that just doesn't vibe with you. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how the locals in these countries really operate and what it takes to unlock their business opportunities. Spoiler alert, flashing wads of cash just won't cut it. So stick around and let's dive in. Let's get one thing straight. Most of the content creators urging you to leave the West are still making money in the developed world, selling their services to people with disposable income. Rarely have they ever made businesses or built long-term partnerships in the countries they've been promoting. Why? Because while the developing countries do have an upper class that earns staggering wealth, sometimes even more than in your home country, the vast majority of the population has a scarcity mindset. Here's the thing, selling to people with this mindset is far more difficult. You'll spend endless hours haggling, negotiating, bargaining, trying to convince these people to part with their money. And that's why these YouTubers continue to sell their courses and services to people in the developed world, where money flows far more freely.
But let's say you don't want to build a venture. Let's say you just want to settle down, retire, maybe buy some cheaper property or businesses. Well, what you will quickly encounter in these countries is a completely different way on how they operate. Let's take China as an example, often touted as the golden boy by people who've never actually sold anything over there. In China, they operate with what they call the onion layer mentality. So picture an onion. You have outermost layers and then you have a core. When you meet somebody, you start on the outermost layers and then you work your way inwards. Sounds reasonable, right? Let me break it to you. As a foreigner, you will never reach the core. They don't even trust people from their own cultures. Families who've known each other for decades have trouble trusting each other, let alone a foreigner like you. Here's, however, what you will quickly encounter. First, everybody's going to be smiles, polite, and maybe even inviting you to drinks. And in the back of your mind, you'll be telling yourself, wow, this is going great. We're actually building rapport. We might even be doing business together. But in the back of their minds, they're telling themselves, how fast can I steal this Westerner's business idea and get access to his money? And secondly, that politeness, it's what they call over there face or public image. It's a cultural facade designed to maintain appearances because scamming is so rampant over there that businessmen are constantly on guard, including from their own people. So if they have trouble trusting their own local population who speak their same language, have the same customs and values, what makes you think that they'll trust a foreigner like yourself?
The point being that all these challenges that I've talked about, trust issues, cultural differences, they can be worked around. But what you'll need to do is develop a relationship with what I call the plug. And the plug will act as a translator for you, not just for the language, but for the way business is done in that country. They must have had some exposure to Western mentality and the way business is done there, such as the importance of contracts and agreements and time, and they'll be able to decode the local mentality in a way that you understand. And they'll act as a translator, basically explaining to you how in local language, yes may actually mean no. And when somebody says, oh, I have contracts here or I know somebody there, they may be actually lying through their teeth.
And this is where most of us Westerners fail at. The process to build that relationship with a plug takes time. Our mindset is, why do I have to meet his family? Why do we have to go for dinners and drinks? Why can't we just start talking about business? Over there, rapport comes first. And that can take weeks, if not months. You first go out for dinners and drinks, then maybe some entertainment, meetings, sprinkle in a bit of negotiation, and finally talk about business. And funnily enough, those who start off with business are probably the ones who are trying to scam you. In the West, first you sign a contract and then you celebrate. In the East, it's completely the other way around. And for Americans and Europeans, this can feel frustrating because they value time and, the saying time is money. Over there, though, it's ingrained in the culture. You've probably even heard of the sentence, mañana, mañana.
In the end, it's the plug's reputation that will get you through the doors, not your experience, not your expertise or how much you know. If they vouch for you, you're in. And do not come with a Western superiority complex that you're Mr. Goody Two-Shoes and a law-abiding citizen. That concept is so foreign over there, it'll actually scare people away. Because contracts, they're not a piece of paper with words written over there. It's bonds, it's relationships, synergy, connections.
And here's the bottom line. You were raised in a society built on the rule of law, trust, and accountability. And that's why the West excels in international business and trade. It was a system designed to make money. Now ask yourself the question, is it really worth to jump through all of these hoops just to do business in developing countries? Because with all their complexities, it's often far easier and smarter to set up shop in the UK, US, or France, where time is valued, contracts are upheld, and people don't care where you come from. That's why these YouTubers continue to do business with you. Notice how they do hourly consultation calls, which is a completely foreign concept in the East. Chinese, Latinos, even Russians, they don't care about your learning curve or how much time you spent to do the project. They care about the result.
By all means, enjoy the cheaper lifestyle of developing countries. Invest in the East if you have a local friend to guide you. But building that relationship with a plug will take what we Westerners value the most: time. If you're willing to spend years weeding out the bad apples and building trust, you may unlock markets that very few people have access to. And then your organizational skills and discipline will definitely come in handy.
But no matter how much you've made in the crypto bull run or how badly you hate Western governments, you're most likely still going to continue using Western financial systems because they work. And if somebody is telling you that US or UK or European banking is terrible, I would much rather keep my money in a too big to fail bank than in some country that didn't even exist 50 years ago. Remember, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's just different. Use each place to its own advantage and don't fall for clickbait narratives. Anyway, that's it for today's presentation. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below. I made a previous video on how the European Western dystopia most likely won't play out the way you thought about it. I'll be seeing you in a future presentation, but until then, bye-bye.